Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eyes. Today, we will be talking about biblical names starting with H, Part 12. This part will consist of 3 sections, sections A through C. This is Part A. Hezekiah. 2 Chronicles chapter 30 records that Hezekiah sent messengers to Ephraim and Manasseh, inviting them to Jerusalem for the celebration of the Passover. The messengers, however, were not only ignored, but were even laughed at, although a few men from the tribes of Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun were humble enough to come to the city. According to the biblical account, the Passover was celebrated with great seriousness and such rejoicing as had not been seen in Jerusalem since the days of Solomon. The celebration took place during the second month, Iyar, because not enough priests had consecrated themselves in the first month. Biblical writer H.P. Mathys suggests that Hezekiah, being powerless to repair the union of Judah and Israel by political means, used the summons to the northern tribes as a final religious attempt to restore the unity of the cult. He also notes that this account is often pondered to contain historically reliable elements, specifically since negative aspects are also reported on, although he questions the full extent to which it may be pondered as historically dependable. After the death of Assyrian king Sargon II in 705 BCE, Sargon's son Sennacherib became king of Assyria. In 703 BCE, Sennacherib began a series of major campaigns to defeat hostility to Assyrian rule, starting with cities in the eastern part of the realm. In 701 BCE, Sennacherib turned towards cities in the west. Hezekiah then had to face the invasion of Judah. According to the Bible, Hezekiah did not rely on Egypt for support. He relied on God and prayed to him for deliverance of his capital city of Jerusalem. The Assyrians recorded that Sennacherib lifted his siege of Jerusalem after Hezekiah paid Sennacherib tribute. The Bible records that Hezekiah paid him 300 talents of silver and 30 of gold as tribute. This is roughly $258,220 in today's money. Hezekiah sent the doors of the temple to produce the promised amount. But even after the payment was made, Sennacherib renewed his assault on Jerusalem. Sennacherib surrounded the city and sent his Rabshakeh to the walls as a messenger. The Rabshakeh addressed the soldiers manning the wall in Hebrew or Yehudith, asking them to distrust Yahweh and Hezekiah, claiming that Hezekiah's righteous reforms of destroying the idols and high places were a sign that the people should not trust their God to be favorably willing. 2 Kings records that Hezekiah went to the temple, and there he prayed to God. Knowing that Jerusalem would ultimately be subject to siege, Hezekiah had been planning for some time by fortifying the walls of the capital, building towers, and constructing a tunnel to bring fresh water to the city from a spring outside its walls. He made at least two major provisions that would help Jerusalem to resist conquest: the construction of the Siloam Tunnel and construction of the Broad Wall. When Sennacherib had come intent on making war against Jerusalem, Hezekiah consulted with his officers about stopping the flow of the springs outside the city. Otherwise, they thought the king of Assyria would come and find water in abundance. This is in 2 Chronicles. The narratives of the Bible state that Sennacherib's army overwhelmed Jerusalem. Later in his life, Hezekiah was ill with a boil or an inflammation. Isaiah told him that the Lord said he should put his house in order because he would die. But Hezekiah prayed, and Isaiah returned, saying that the Lord had heard his prayer and he would recover. Hezekiah asked for a sign, and Isaiah asked him whether the shadow should go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees. Hezekiah said it should go back, and the account states, Isaiah the prophet cried unto the Lord, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz. The narrative of his sickness and miraculous recovery is found in 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, and Isaiah. Various ambassadors came to congratulate him on his recovery. Among them, Merodach-Baladan, son of the king of Babylon, for he had heard that Hezekiah had been sick. Hezekiah, his vanity flattered by the visit, showed the Babylonian embassy all the wealth, arms, and stores of Jerusalem, possibly revealing too much information to Baladan, king of Babylon, or perhaps boasting his wealth. He was then confronted by Isaiah, who foretold that a future generation of the people of Judah would be taken as captives to Babylon. Hezekiah was reassured that his own lifetime would see peace and security. According to Isaiah, Hezekiah lived another 15 years after praying to God. His son and successor Manasseh was born during this time. He was 12 years of age when he succeeded Hezekiah. According to the Talmud, the disease came about because of a dispute between him and Isaiah over who should pay whom a visit, and over Hezekiah's refusal to marry and have children, although in the end he married Isaiah's daughter. Some Talmudists also pondered it might have come about as a way of Hezekiah to purge his sins, or due to his arrogance in assuming his righteousness. This was the biblical name starting with H, Part 12, Section A. Please stay tuned for Section B, starting with Hezrah's story. If you like these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below and the bell for more. Adonai Nisi, the Lord is our banner. God's blessings be upon us all.